When it comes to Pesach or Passover, we eat a meal of remembrance. Let us remember what we're supposed to be remembering. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, Day 4 of Torah Portion Bo. I previously stated to you that this portion is specifically about spiritual warfare, and especially found so in chapter 12 as we examine the ritual and the protocols of eating the Passover lamb, preparing for our exit from exile. Let me see if I can say that correctly. Each Hebrew family is to be found within their homes, their doors shut, stained with blood on the doorposts and the lintel, blood drawn from the body of the lamb that is now roasting in their home, as they prepare to eat it in a particular fashion and prepare to make their exit from exile. Now, Yeshua, as was this lamb, was examined for 4 days to be sure that there was no fault, no flaw, no issue, if you will, with it, that it would be a pure lamb, spotless and undefiled. The religious rulers of Yeshua's day examined him and questioned him for 4 days as he went into Jerusalem, and then Pilate gave the summation of the examination's results when he said, "I find no fault in him." This is no coincidence. Yeshua is indeed the Pesach lamb. He is foretold and prophesied by every lamb that had been eaten in the previous generations, especially here in this initial observance in Mitzrayim. The book of Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 7 and 8 are in particular important to us here. And we read from that, "He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And as for his generation, who considered that he should be cut off from the land of the living? For the transgression of my people he was stricken." Like a lamb to the slaughter, like a Pesach lamb being led to the slaughter, Yeshua went willingly, obediently, giving his life, it not being taken from him. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 26 also mentions that he would be, quote unquote, cut off. Here it says he would be cut off from the land of the living. And then another telling incident, it says it's for the transgression of my people, Am Israel, that he is to be slaughtered. And then it clarifies and says the Nagah, the plague, Lamo, it fell on him. The plague that was intended for you and I fell on Messiah Yeshua in our behalf. If you would go to Tehillim 91, Psalms 91, and examine the first 10 verses, you will find that verse 10 says, the Nagah, the plague, will not enter or come near our Ohel, our tent, because we have made the Most High our dwelling place. Now, what does that mean? A couple of thoughts here. One is that our dwelling place, our homes, our personal tent, that we have put the mezuzah at the entrance, that we have set apart that which is within our house, that we honor him in our daily living. We acknowledge him as the master of our families, and our home has become his home. It's also possible that it could have been alluded to in David's words. David said, I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of Yahweh. That we have made the tabernacle, the house, the temple of the Most High, our dwelling place. Though we eat and sleep and live and dwell within another tent, it is the house of the Most High, that most set apart place that we most yearn for and desire to be a part of. Either way can be right, and maybe you have other suggestions. You can leave those in the comments. Be glad to read those. But the important part here is that as we have made Yeshua and his house, or Yeshua as master over our house, our dwelling place, that the plague will come not near us. Now, this is especially important to us this week in particular, as newsreels are very much occupied by the coronavirus that is escaping out of China and other Oriental nations. And the world seems to be taken in fear at the prospect of a worldwide outbreak of some plague or virus. I'm not telling you that you have no need to protect yourself in any medical way, but I am telling you that Yeshua is a hiding place. And whether you take some vaccine, and I'm sure that's going to be argued up one side and down the other in our Hebraic roots community. I don't want to go there today. Whether you take medical precautions or not, the key for you and I is to be found hidden in Messiah and trusted in him. The book of Revelations describes how that famines will break out in the last days. Untold numbers of people will indeed die from these famines. Is the coronavirus one of these famines? It remains to be seen. No way to know at this point. Our key is to be found in Messiah. Now, the Pesach meal is to be eaten in a very specific fashion. If we go to chapter number 12, we read in verse number 11, and this is how you are to eat it. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach of Yahweh. Now, these are very specific instructions, and they do not fit the model of our modern Seder meal presentation. Most of us are not standing with a stick in our hand, shoes on our feet, and gobbling it down. We're enduring sometimes hours of a Seder and longing just to get to the meal part before we starve to death. Pesach for us means deliverance. Before we go into these 4 steps, what does deliverance mean? Well, deliverance is deliverance. From what and to what? You and I are to seek deliverance from this present world and our attachment and our longing, our lust, our yearnings for it. We are addicted to it. We are enthralled by it. We're entertained by it. We are captivated by this present world. We need to be delivered. And having been delivered, we need to be faithful to the point of our deliverance, and that is to find Yahweh on his mountain, seeking him with our whole heart, hearing his Torah, and being willing to covenant with him that we're going to walk according to its precepts. Now, we are to eat this in a certain way with our loins girded. Kepha, or Peter, says that we are to gird up the loins of our mind. That is, that we are to have a mind that is focused on what we are doing, who he is in this revelation, and what price has been paid for us, that we gird up our mind and not be deceived by this present world. An attitude of being able to move out and be set apart. Girding up your loins means preparing your mind for action so that you are ready to move and to move quickly. We are to eat it with our shoes on our feet, shod with the Derech HaKadosh, a set-apart path that we are willing to walk according to the path of the Most High in His Word. With our staff of authority and identity and leadership in our hands, ruling our houses correctly, being ruled by the Word correctly. And then we are to eat this meal in a hurry. I don't know that you and I are ready to give up this present exile quickly. It may come down to situations where we can't get out of here fast enough. May Yah help us. We need to be hurried and in haste to prepare ourselves for our coming deliverance. May Yah help us. Until tomorrow, Shalom.